Hey, this is Matt Ertz, your Madison County Historian. We are still working to record unique stories that are taking place during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're really lucky today to have Colleen Baldwin of Chittenango Assistance with us. Thank you for joining us, Colleen. Could you talk a little bit about what Chittenango Assistance is and how it kind of got started?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. Chittenango Assistance was developed early on in the COVID-19 episode. I was in Florida for the winter, and we weren't going to be back until April, but mid-March things started to happen, and my husband and I came back early. And as I was returning, it must have been around March 17th, 18th, I was in the car, and my concerns were for our village. I'm one of the village trustees. I was in contact with the mayor. I was in contact with the other trustees. We were trying to figure out what to do, how we were going to handle things, and day by day things were changing rapidly. Suddenly the mandate came out from the governor that only essential employees could go into work. Things had to close down. People were being quarantined. You had to be anybody over, I think it was 65 or 70, you might have to correct me there, had to be quarantined at home. So day by day, things were getting, very tight. And my concern was, if people were not socially aware or have computers, have cell phones, how would they know what was going on? Not only that, people being very scared about hearing all of this suddenly, how are we going to give them a sense of control and a sense of, we're here to help you? So I was driving back, and I was checking out the community pages that we have. Chittenango has different, not only our village page for connection with our residents, but there's also ones that have been set up separately. Right. So I was perusing all of them, and I came across a website, a Facebook page that was set up by a resident. His Facebook name was Sebastian. So I reached out to him and I said, what you have set up is exactly what I was going to do. So there's no sense reinventing the wheel. You have jumped on this. This is amazing. And what he set up was a Facebook page called Chittenango Assistance. And the page basically, its first announcement had a big heart on it, and it said, we are here to help you. I need volunteers, and if you need anything, you call this number, you contact me here, and I will set you up with somebody who can help you. And I said, that is what we need to do. And so we talked. I asked him if he wouldn't mind if his page, along with me on behalf of the village, could work together. And he was totally on board, and that's where it started. Really grassroots, one person putting it together, me grabbing hold of his idea, and we developed it. Then we grew it into something a little more. My concern was, many of these people who can't leave their homes, who can't do shopping, are older class, are people who are really isolated, are gonna need not just assistance for certain items, but what about food now? It also occurred to me now that with all these people who can't work, no money coming in, people were let go, I could see what was going to happen with the backlog for the government. Don't get me wrong, all kinds of things came out. We're going to get you money, we're going to get you, but I knew there was going to be a time lapse. So my concern was, there are going to be people here who never in their lives before have had to use any social services at all. And they're going to not know what to do. There are going to be people who, are not going to know how to go out and get the shopping, how to get food. So I reached out also to our food cupboard. And they are mostly people, like most food cupboards are, they are organized and run by our seniors. Now all of a sudden our seniors are asked to stay home. So I realized there was a huge gap there. So I contacted Sebastian at Chittenango Assistance, and we decided to recruit volunteers who could go in and replace these older seniors who can't run the food cupboard for the time being, and keep the food cupboard open. We opened the hours and we opened the days of service. And I used all the website information and the Chittenango Assistance Facebook page, and we started putting out the call for, we need volunteers, we need donations, we need monetary donations. So we really ramped up, and this was early on, this was probably by March 20th, 21st, that we ramped up the call that we need to help our neighbors. Chittenango Assistance also helped me in getting out the word to everybody. If you need information, like we publicized village hours, village call numbers, emergency numbers, we publicized check on your neighbor programs. We called everyone to be involved. And we posted this on every site we could think of, but again, my main concern was, what about people who don't have technology? So I spoke with our mayor and our trustees, and we got out a mailing to every household in Sullivan, not Sullivan County, town of Sullivan, and the village of Chittenango, paper in their mailboxes, so they got not only the Chittenango Assistance contact numbers, phone numbers, village phone numbers, everything we could think of getting them, and the most pertinent information relating to the coronavirus and what they should be doing, so that if they weren't able to see it on the news, see it on computers, they had a tangible copy. That was really important to me, because there's so many people that we don't think of, because we're all connected this way, who fall through the cracks.
Right.
So it was the, the elderly, the isolated, that were my main concern. And I have to say, thankfully to this Chittenango Assistance Group, sadly, Sebastian, after about 2 weeks, had some personal issues. He dropped back, and one of his volunteers stepped in, took over the whole entire Chittenango Assistance process. Her name is Tina McNulty, and she has been absolutely, I guess I would say, kind of the angel of Chittenango. She has taken and ran with it. She has set up the milk giveaways, bringing free milk, potatoes, whatever farmers are offering, lineups. I just can't tell you how exceptional our village, our residents have been in stepping up to help each other and looking out for each other. And if it's not for that grassroots effort, I don't know that we would be as successful. It's everybody looking out for each other in a village. And just a note, and I don't know if this is, it's probably my own feeling, but because we're a village and we have neighbors next door, and yet we're still in a rural community outside of our villages, more farms and rural, we have the ability to look out for each other unlike they do. But one of my concerns is, even so, the town of Sullivan or Madison County as a whole, I don't see the programs that individually reach out for the isolated, because I don't know that they have the same ability to do it. Like, there's no grassroots effort for Madison County to look for the vulnerable, or in the town of Sullivan to look for the vulnerable. So I feel that what we have done and what Chittenango Assistance has done is something that even the bigger and more rural areas should somehow be able to accomplish, even though it might be more difficult. Like, how are they taking care of their isolated population? Right. Now, that's still one of my concerns. I'm not sure how to answer it. I just think because we are in a village, we are able to grab hold of it and use our neighbors and friends much more easily than a bigger area is.
Yeah, and I live in the night. I understand what you're saying. My mom lives not too far away, but she doesn't have neighbors anywhere as close. The same, right. The rural concept of who's checking on her if it's
right.
So.
Yeah, that's a big concern. And I guess in the future, if I were to say, what can we prepare for next time? That would be one of my issues, would be in more rural areas to set up a way of finding these people, getting their contact information. So even if you had to set up some kind of chain or checking service or call service, that there is something like that available to them, or a mailing to them saying, if this should happen, if you feel, who can they call? And it can't be necessarily just done through social sites and technology, because my mom's 92. She doesn't do that. That's not what she's going to use.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a unique situation, and we're all adapting on the fly.
Absolutely.
We're learning, and what we talk about today in 2 weeks may seem kind of silly, but all right. So talk a little bit about, you mentioned the milk giveaway, the potato. Talk about what you guys have done in the world of social distancing, how you've been able to do that. And then, do you have more stuff coming up?
Well, yeah. So one of the things we did was Tina McNulty, through Chittenango Assistance, saw that Minoa, some of the other communities, had been having these milk giveaways. So she reached out to one of the organizers there, spoke with this man, and what they had been doing was buying the dairy, these businessmen buying the dairy milk, and then on their own distributing it to people in need. So he came out to Chittenango, and we did a distribution. And what we did is we made sure that the food cupboards, both the Filer Road Community Church Food Pantry and the Sullivan Food Pantry, our food cupboard, received all kinds of milk, and we put some in backup. And all of the people that called in, she put it out on the website, and anybody who needed milk got it delivered free with any other food sources they might have needed from the pantries. So that was about 60 people that was just distributed to. And she organized all the volunteers to do the delivery. She got the calls in from all the people who were in need. So that was one thing. Then the next thing, Madison County set up, they wanted to distribute some masks and hand sanitizer just a couple of weeks ago. And the town of Sullivan wanted to distribute, a farmer came forward and wanted to distribute potatoes. And they also had a milk delivery, 500 half gallons, I believe. So Chittenango Assistance assisted them because each one of them only had their part that they were promoting. Right. So we pulled both of those entities together in combination with what we do. We involved the school. The school gave us a site to use so that we could direct the traffic in. Village police and the sheriff's offices all contributed. So really, though, there was no real promotion of the whole thing unless we got involved.
Right.
So, Madison County promoted what they were giving away. I don't think Town of Sullivan promoted really anything. So our Chittenango Assistance Group and all our contacts and what we have out there really promoted it. So it was to start at 1 o'clock, and it was to go to 3 o'clock. We were giving away milk, 5-pound bags of potatoes, the masks, hand sanitizer. People were lined up by 12:30. By probably 2 o'clock, we were out, wiped out. It was extremely successful. We're going to try to do it again. It's a lot to put together, but it worked.
Yeah, I spoke with the folks in Morrisville, and they had given out I think 1,200 gallons, and
right.
Destiny, I think they gave out almost 8,000. So there definitely is a need right now for that kind of stuff. You said you're kind of working to put another one together. Do you have a time frame on that or not?
We don't, because we don't know if we're going to do it independently or if it's something that, again, Town of Sullivan is going to coordinate or Madison County is going to coordinate. So we're kind of on hold for them, because although they don't promote we need to know what they're doing so we can promote it for them. And it's promotion that gets you the people.
Right.
The other side to that thing is, let's face it, everybody loves free things. So whether you're in desperate need of it or not, if it's free, we're all gonna I'm gonna get some free milk and potatoes. So through our program, Chittenango Assistance, what we're really looking to do is not just the people who want to get it for free, but the people who are desperately in need of something. So it's a little bit different, we'll promote whatever anybody's going to give for people. But I also think things are going to change a little bit, because now of the stress of there's so much more people in need downstate and by the city, that they're going to start kind of directing things in that direction. So the free milk programs and the farmers' excess food is going to be, I think, more directed down there. So we may not have the availability as much as we were.
Yeah, because there are, hopefully next week, we're going to talk to some folks from Cornell Cooperative, but our reports kind of farmers not having a place to send their milk and not having a place to send their potatoes when, well, all these other places are in need. There's just not the capability of getting it around right now. So
right, and the governor's latest for the last week has been trying to coordinate that effort.
Right.
Let's face it, I have food cupboards, and I want to put this out there right now. We're meeting the demand very well. We don't have lines out the door. Other parts of the country, you see like miles long of cars waiting for food pickup. We're not dealing with that. Where our residents have been so extremely generous, monetary wise and food wise. We're getting a lot of donations. Our cupboard can't handle much more right now. So we're meeting the need of our residents. It's really important that the residents of other communities who are in desperate need do get that. And I understand that, and I would support that.
Talk a little bit about the food cupboard. Are you guys seeing, and you said you're able to keep up right now, are you seeing a pretty significant increase in people needing help?
Yeah, I can't speak directly because I was honestly never involved with the food cupboard process before. Under the auspices of the village, I kind of stepped in and kind of took it over with their approval, of course, because they weren't able to manage it under these guidelines. So as a village representative, I spoke to the president and the secretary there, and they got on board, and I just said, we have to make this much more than it has been. You know, we have to meet the needs of a lot more people. And certainly since we have taken this over, and I want to say that was probably maybe very beginning of April, we are meeting the needs of a lot more people. And Chittenango Assistance Group has stepped up in the sense that many people need the food cupboard, but they can't get to the food cupboard, okay? Whether because they're isolated at home, because of health issues, because of quarantine, it doesn't matter. So we have volunteers almost on a daily basis delivering to people, whatever it is they need or want in support. And the volunteers that signed up with Chittenango Assistance are now manning the food cupboard. So we've taken over a lot of the work that they used to do. We do want to give it back to them, the seniors that run it someday. It's theirs. They're empowered by it. They love what they do. Right now, it just has been taken out of their hands. And yeah, and they're waiting to get it back. But we are right now very much meeting the needs of our residents.
If people wanted to either donate time, donate money, donate food, how can they reach out to people and talk to them? You know, whether we talked about the Facebook page, but maybe social media savvy. Where are you located? Where can they call?
So the Chittenango Assistance has a wonderful Facebook page. You just have to type in chittenangoassistance.com and it'll bring you there. I have a couple of numbers. The Chittenango Assistance page has a phone number you can call. It's 315-288-8198. And that brings you right to their number. It might go to a message, but she gets back to you really quickly. The Facebook page is also Chittenango Assistance at gmail.com. Okay. So you can get them that way. The rest, the food pantries, the Sullivan Food Cupboard has their webpage that you can get to. And we also have Filer Road Community Church. And that's up on Filer Road in Kirkville. And she also will take donations. I have a phone number. Her name is Sue, and Sue will take phone calls at 315-687-3037. And you can set up times to deliver food or to help her out. Chittenango Assistance, if you want to volunteer to do anything to help out, whether make deliveries to people who are isolated or work at the food cupboard or donate, whatever it is you want to do to help out, right there, you can message her on the Facebook page and she'll get back to you. We have a separate person who is doing all of that information, keeping track of all the volunteers and making all the assignments. So it's grown nicely.
It sounds like you're well organized.
Yeah, we're trying.
So one last question, and it's an odd question, but I'm curious. Do you think this is something we're so in the moment right now that it's very hard to look forward more than a couple of days?
Mhm.
If and when hopefully this ends, is this something you hope can continue and morph into something else? Or is it something that's just for this moment and hopefully we never need it again?
You know what, Matt? This is a great question. And it's really wonderful because some of the people who have signed up to work with Chittenango Assistance, and especially at the food cupboard, have come back and said, I'm going to continue this. This feels so good, and I love doing this. And actually, my husband's one of them. He's recently retired, and he said, I love this feeling. I'm going to keep doing this. And I've heard that from a number of others. And on the other side of that, some of the seniors who've been running these food cupboards since they've retired are now getting up there, and they see some new people coming in, and they're like, okay, it's time for me to step back. I've done it enough. So it's an interesting turnover happening here. Some people are seeing their need and their rewards coming from it, and they're liking it. So I think it will continue. I think our involvement will continue. I think Chittenango Assistance Group will continue, because you know what? There's always somebody who needs something.
Right.
And if they know this is now available to them, I think maybe not to the same demand we have right now, but yeah, I think it's a number that'll continue to be needed. Which makes me think of one more thing. Somebody was saying, well, what about people now who don't have money, but they need clothes, they need things for their kids. And I forgot to mention, even before this whole COVID-19 started, another one of our residents set up a Facebook page, and it's called Chittenango Sharing and Caring. And what they do is, if you have something that you want to give away, I have size 4 baby clothes, does anybody need them? Or I need a crib, or whatever your needs are, that Facebook site is dealing with that. So that has also stepped up in this time. Lately, I've been noticing a lot of requests for, clothes, even adult clothes, and people answering back, no worries, I've got it, it'll be on my driveway, come by anytime and pick it up. And that's how we're dealing with it too. Everyone is keeping the distance. When we make deliveries, there's no personal contact. Tell us what you need, we'll drop it at your door. We're wearing face masks. We're trying to use all the proper, so far we haven't had any incidents, and that's good. So I just think it's a grassroots effort to take care of each other. And I think it does bring out the best in us. Some of the situations bring out the worst in people, but mostly I think it just brings out the best in everybody.
Well, I think that's about as good as we can end it. Colleen, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. Hopefully we talk to you soon under better circumstances. Please stay safe.
All right, thank you, Matt.
All right.